Welcome to another edition of Bleav in Giants. Bob Papa and Carl Banks taking you through Big Blue each and every week. And the Giants are on the road this Monday night. They take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And no great shock that Brady happens to be on the schedule after winning a Super Bowl and after the Giants had a chance to play him last year. And Carl, they played the Buccaneers tough last year, but kind of like this year, they found ways to not win games. And if you remember that game last year, Daniel Jones had a couple of fumbles in the third quarter that really turned the game around, and the Bucs were able to beat the Giants. How do they make it different this year?
Well, the thing is, Bob, everyone says, Tom Brady never loses 3 games in a row. And my answer to that is until he does. But the Giants will have to take care of the football. They're going to have to play I don't say flawless, but they're going to have to be pretty mistake-free, protect the quarterback. There will be some opportunities against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they're a high-volume blitz team, and they're blitzing with some of their key defensive backs out of the lineup. So they will have an opportunity to hit some plays, but it really comes down to accounting for the numbers in the box. And when Tampa Bay shows blitz, and they will blitz, it's sometimes just to create one-on-one matchups with their front four of Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, and JPP. So it's not just a matter of counting the extra rusher, but making sure if you're one-on-one with one of those guys that you've got to hold your block. If you can do that, the Giants will have a chance for big plays.
Well, you know, Brady, the last time Brady lost 3 in a row, I think it was 4 in a row, right? 2002, which is, It's hilarious when you think about our producer at the Giants, John Schmelk. He had a funny line. He's like, do you realize that the last time Brady lost more than 2 games in a row, Ed Reed was a rookie, and Ed Reed has played in the NFL, and Ed Reed has already been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
It's,
By the way, you know what I forgot about last year's game? Do you remember the no call on Dion Lewis on the 2-point conversion?
Yes.
That would have tied the game at 25 in the last seconds of the game? I forgot about that.
I mean, listen, there were opportunities to be had. There were opportunities missed. This is going to be a fun game. If the Giants continue to build on or stack on their defensive performance, people said, I was asked yesterday, do the Giants continue with their bend but don't break philosophy? I'm like, no. It's a different schematic that they're defending. If you go bend but don't break against Brady, he will kill you death by 1,000 paper cuts. He could be as patient as they come because he's that disciplined. I know Bruce Arians likes to take shots, and they are a big play offense. But Tom Brady, he'll take the 5s, he'll take the 8s, he'll take the 10s, because the one thing that Brady has that separates him from 99% of the quarterbacks playing today, and he does it 100% better than any of them, is that he is a good red zone quarterback, he's a good midfield quarterback, and he's a good coming out quarterback. So he knows how to play the game in all 3 phases of the football field. When they're backed up, he knows how to run an offense. When they're at midfield, he knows how to run the offense, and when he's in the red zone. So he'll take whatever you give him and just execute all the way down the field. What you have to do is, number one, you're not going to fool him, but you're going to have to make him hesitate just for a second on his reads, but you've got to get pressure on Tom Brady. He's not immune to pressure. As a matter of fact, that's when you have your most success against him, combining pressure and looks. But you got to be smart about it.
Yeah, and as we saw in the Thursday night football game, if you get pressure on a quarterback like the Patriots did against Matt Ryan, and especially pressure up the middle, because like the Devin McCourty interception on Thursday night was a direct function of Hightower getting pressure up the middle Matt Ryan had nowhere to step up, and he kind of just heaved it downfield, and McCourty gets a pretty easy interception. I mean, look, if you have edge rushers that can come around the edge and just completely whip the tackles, but the Giants don't really have that on a consistent basis. But if they can get collective pressure, like Washington did last week,
Sure.
look, every team in the NFL is beatable. There's nobody that's undefeated. And you see these results every week, Carl. So there's no reason why the Giants can't go down there and play a good game and maybe even win the football game.
Well, I as odd as it sounds, I think they can and will win this game. And it's a bold prediction, and I could be totally wrong. But I Bleav they can and will win this game because of what the pressure that they can put on Tampa's defense with, two running backs in the game, Barkley being back and Booker being there. A good, I don't want to say supply, but a good wide receiver lineup that will have Kadarius Toney and Galladay in the lineup. So, and then you've got tight ends. So I think they've got enough weapons healthy and available to them. Andrew Thomas being back, which is going to only help this offensive line. Even with Thomas back, if they still go to some of the extra lineman configurations, they've got receivers that can win one-on-one. So I think there's a great opportunity in front of the Giants if they come in with the right focus and the right discipline, knowing that it will be a 60-minute ball game against Tom Brady, but there is a path to victory. And I think the Giants have what it takes to win the game, just considering what they have available health-wise and what Tampa has available health-wise.
I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of pressure on everybody, right? When you're playing against the defending Super Bowl champs in their building on prime time, you're not going against chopped liver. So Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, he's got his hands full. And then Jason Garrett on the other side of the ball coming up with an appropriate game plan to sort of attack this defense and be multiple in your attack. And one of the things I think everybody's anxious to see, Carl, is, how they figure out ways from their self-scout or whatever it was during their time off to get more production out of Kadarius Toney. I mean, he leads the team in receiving yards, but he's tied with David Njoku of Cleveland for the fewest yards to lead any team. Or he's second in Njoku. It's some ridiculously low number. And I was thinking about the game on Monday night, because if San Francisco loses the game on Monday night to the Rams, their season is legitimately over. They had to win that football game, and they did. And they played very well in doing so. And some Giants fans have asked me, why is it that the Niners seem to have figured out ways to use Deebo Samuel, and how come the Giants haven't figured out ways to use Kadarius Toney more to really have him more integrated into the program or into the game plan? Do you agree with that? I don't know if I agree with it.
It's a simple answer, Bob. Kadarius Toney hasn't been available. Like, the more he's available, the more he's on the field, the more you see what he can do. But it's one game on, half a game, and then he's out of the lineup for a whole game. So he's a game, and then 1.5 games he's out. So it's availability. And when he's healthy, they can do more with him. But you're scripting plays for a guy who's hobbled sometimes. And then when he's healthy, he gives you that one game. So he's just got to be healthy and on the field. And I Bleav you'll see more of what they can do with him in conjunction with the other wide receivers that are on the roster and healthy. But until he can be healthy, there's, you can wish they can do more, and you will see more once he's out there, or the more he's out there.
Well, and then the other thing I would say to that argument, Carl, too, is this. It's also a function of some of the other weaknesses of this football team, most notably the offensive line at times just being extremely porous. Like, they've run some jet sweeps with Tony. He's only got a couple of carries, but it feels like, the other team is just nailing him when he does get it. I mean,
Yeah.
they've tossed it to him on end around. I mean, there's been 3 or 4 times.
I think they have to be less predictable there, though. That is part of what the issue was. It's like they might as well have went into the defensive huddle and says, okay, when Tony goes in motion, we're going to hand him the ball here, because the entire stadium knew a few times.
But I mean, there's been like 3 occasions this year where he got the ball with the intent to pass
and just got blown up.
Yeah, I mean, he's 1 for 2 passing for 19 yards. I think there was a third time it wound up just turning into a run. But like, there were a couple of times where, and I give Tony a lot of credit, because normally when you give the wide receivers or the running back a chance to throw, they throw it regardless, because it's like, oh, this is my chance to actually do. He's passed up on the deep ball. The one time he did a little check down. One time he just ate it and took off and ran. So I give him a lot of credit in the fact that he's thought like a quarterback when he has these chances. He hasn't forced it.
Yeah, he makes good decisions as a playmaker in every phase of that playmaking. So if he's called upon to pass the ball, it's not a gimmick play. It's a play that he feels that he can make, and if it's not there, he makes a good decision and doesn't put the ball in harm's way. So it's not just a novelty to him. It's an actual assignment.
Let's talk big picture here, Carl. It feels like this season has really dragged on, right? I mean, you look at the Atlanta game and you sit there and you say to yourself, especially after watching Atlanta on Thursday night, and you sit there and you say, how in the hell did the Giants lose to the Falcons? Because remember, in that game, Ingram played, Golladay played, Tony played, Shepard played, Saquon played. And you're watching the Patriots be able to move the ball against that Atlanta defense. And you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, like, how in the world did the Giants only put up 2 touchdowns in that game? How did they lose that game? Well, guess what? The Patriots caught all the interceptions. The Giants dropped them.
Exactly.
But they're 3-6. Okay. The playoffs are probably not something that's in their future. But let us not forget, there's still a traditional, based on a 16-game schedule, they got a half a season left.
Yeah.
They have a full half season. I mean, give me 5-3 down to close the year out.
Yeah.
6-2.
Big picture, Bob, is Monday. That's the only picture that they should think about. They've just got to start to stack wins, and then you could talk about a bigger picture. But the picture that they should focus on is the one right in front of them on Monday. Get through that one with a victory, find a way to win it, and then focus on the next. You stack about 3 or 4 games, get yourself a 3 or 4 game win streak, and then you could talk big picture. But right now, that picture is Monday night, Tom Brady, Shaq Barrett, JPP, and the rest of that crew. There's no other picture they should even think about in terms of what the future holds for them.
All right, so that's the I'm Carl Banks. I played for Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, single-minded. But like, for our fans out there that are looking at it through the fans' lens, is it unrealistic for this team? I mean, for fans to be saying, hey, you know what? Give me a good, strong winning record here in these final 8 games. Let me see you guys perform.
I think every fan should ask that question, should say exactly what you said. Let me see you guys perform. Prove to me that I should be back on this bandwagon. And make me feel better about this team because I've been miserable the first half of the season. I've trashed you. I've done everything, but I don't want to be miserable the next 8 weeks of my life going into the new year. So give me something to be excited about.
What did you do during your bye week, by the way?
Oh, I filmed a little special TV thing on project I'm working on around our favorite things, food, travel,
nice,
music. So I started working on that, and that was it.
Just you relaxed a little bit.
Yeah, drank some good wine. Did some fun stuff.
Speaking of, I mentioned in our last podcast that I was going to Phoenix for the Charles Schwab Cup championship that Phil Mickelson won. And of course, Bernhard Langer wound up winning the Schwab Cup when Jim Furyk didn't make an eagle on the last hole. And I was thinking about our conversation about, these athletes that, because you played in the sport, I want to get your take on this a little bit, just how hard it is. What Brady's doing is unprecedented. I mean, there's George Blanda. There's some guys that have played in there much later than any of their peers, but not at this level. And I was thinking about the Saturday at Phoenix Country Club last week. Bernhard Langer, who turned 64 in August, had to get himself back in contention or tried to get himself back in contention. He shot a bogey-free 63. You know how hard it is to shoot under your age? Especially when your age is 64.
Yeah.
Shoot 63. He's never had really any serious injury, although he injured his back and almost withdrew on Thursday. Literally almost withdrew. Gutted it out. And then he wins the Schwab Cup for an unprecedented sixth time. From an athlete's perspective, could you share with our audience just how hard it is to do what he's doing, what Brady's doing, to be able to play at a high level at such an advanced age?
Well, a lot of it is luck. No, some of it is luck. A lot of it is being willing to sacrifice more than your compatriots, more than the people that you play with. So there's a level of, okay, I'm a professional. And then there's a level of, oh, I'm a good professional. And then there's another level of, hey, I'm one of the best. And then there's the best. And the people that are the best at what they do, they're willing to do more. And they're not satisfied with just being one of the best. They want to go the extra mile. That is the Kobe Bryant mentality. That is the Bernard Langer. That is the Tom Brady. What's the other golfer? I forget his name. British golfer who what's his name?
Give me a little more.
Older, always does push-ups, looks great all the time.
Gary Player?
No, not Player. Older than Player. Why I keep saying Ben Hogan? Well,
I think you're thinking of Gary Player because he's 86 now.
Yes, it is Player.
Yes, the Jack LaLanne of golf.
Yes, Jack LaLanne of golf. Wears his pants up high. Yeah, so guys like that. And, I talked about, something in you has to die, like that willingness to go above and beyond. The not accepting I'm tired, not accepting I can't make another putt, another free throw, another catch, another wind sprint. When everybody else, even the best in the business, are doing great, you want to do something extra. And that's the difference, man. And it's not easy. It ain't listen, greatness is not for everybody, right? But being the greatest, there is another level of sacrifice, and you enjoy the sacrifice. You're not miserable being great. You enjoy it because it just separates you above even the greatest.
I want to get your thoughts on JPP in a second. but I want to let everybody know it's Thanksgiving, and we all know what that means. Football, and nothing goes better with football than turkey and betting. BetOnline has you covered all holiday season, more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this Thanksgiving. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website. Sign up today. Receive 50% welcome bonus with the promo code Bleav, BLEAV, and you're going to receive your bonus. Not just football, pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, we're stuffed with deals for Thanksgiving. Again, the promo code Bleav, and you are all set. You're going to get 50% off your welcome bonus. BLEAV. All right. Final thing and wrapping it up. Giants are going to see an old friend in JPP. I have to be honest with you, Carl. I mean, I hope he doesn't wreck the game on Monday night. He's been dealing with a bunch of injuries. He's fought through a lot of injuries, man. And obviously what happened when he was with the Giants. I'm happy for JPP. I got to be honest with you. If it wasn't for JPP, the Giants don't win Super Bowl 46. He was a monster. Look, he got into a contract situation. He had the unfortunate incident with 4th of July. I think this is one of those situations where a change in scenery was the best thing for him. It felt like it kind of like soured with the Giants and with the organization and the contentiousness of the contract. And
well,
I'm happy for the dude.
No, you cannot be unhappy for Jason Pierre-Paul. Number one, he's genuinely a really good dude. Funny, easy to be around. But aside from the contract, he had some injuries he was dealing with, obviously, with his hand, and he was just really coming back from that. And the Giants took good care of that for him, made sure that he could resume his career. But I think, like you said, the change of environment was good for him, because number one, they weren't putting good quality football players around him. His level of leadership did not rise to that of a Strahan, of a Justin Tuck. So now he's almost an elder statesman as a young player. And then you had a locker room that was just not quite stable enough, and not enough good players, as him being one of the better players, to kind of get things going in the right direction. And I think that change for him couldn't have come at a better time, even though a lot of people saw it as good riddance. He was a little upset about it early on, but these things happen to they tend to take care of themselves. He settled in, and he's having a hell of a career outside of the Giants, where he made his name.
Yeah, it was a little toxic in that locker room, and I know he was involved in some stuff in the locker room and
hijinks,
yeah, and stuff with Eric Flowers and all that other stuff, and some of the other guys. So I think it worked out for the best. He has certainly grown into a leader.
Yep.
And that change of scenery certainly helped him. I'm happy for him, because I think you hit the nail on the head. When we were around him, he's a genuinely fun-loving guy that always kind of had a big-hearted smile. He was a big, like a big kid.
Yeah.
And I'll still remember his rookie season. You remember him running down on kickoffs?
Yes.
It was even in 2011. So I'm happy for him. I'm not that happy for him that he wrecks the game on Monday night and Daniel Jones gets out of there in one piece. But I'm happy for him on a bigger scale that everything's worked out for him pretty well. Exactly. And you know what he is? He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
That's right.
Not many people can say that. So, Carl, you're feeling big things on Monday, aren't you?
I feel that it is a winnable game that they will win. There is a path to victory. I think they understand Tampa. They understand Brady. It really comes down to execution. This offense has the weapons. they've got to account for the players up front because on the back end, they can expose Tampa.
I'm curious to see, too, when the Giants play in Florida, in Tampa, and in Miami, there have always been a huge amount of Giants fans because of the so many transplanted New Yorkers. In fact, when the Giants last played down there in 2019, when Matt Gay missed the game-winning field goal, there were more cheers that he missed than groans that he missed because of all the Giants fans. Or the playoff game in 2007, it was like a home game. Now that Brady's there and the Bucs are the defending champs, I'm guessing that there'll be more Bucs fans in the building for the home game. But I just don't want to hear those cannons going off. It gives me a friggin' headache.
I know.
All right, Carl. That wraps it up. How do we end this thing?
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
To tell a friend and tell a friend to get 50% welcome bonus with Bet Online, promo code Bleav, BLEAV. 50% welcome bonus is coming your way for Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week, recap the Giants and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and get you set for Michael Strahan night and the Eagles coming to town. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Bleav in Giants. Bob Papa, Carl Banks. We'll see you next week.